Enfield poll staff training. This video is designed to assist polling station staff working at elections. The video will describe the procedures to be followed and how to deal with any issues that may arise. As polling station staff, you play a central role in elections. Your role is vital in ensuring that voters, political parties, candidates and agents have confidence in the elections process. The poll clerk's main duties are to comply with the instructions of the returning officer and the presiding officer, assist with the layout of the polling station and prepare for the opening of the poll, be polite and professional in dealing with voters, candidates and agents, representatives of the Electoral Commission and accredited observers, act impartially at all times, check that electors are eligible to vote in the elections and at this polling station. Check and mark voters' elector numbers in the register of electors. On the corresponding number list, write the voter's elector number against the number of the ballot paper issued. Issue ballot papers to voters when directed to do so by the presiding officer, ensuring that they bear the official mark. Ensure that voters cast their vote in secret. Maintain the secrecy of the ballot at all times. Answer voters' questions, where appropriate, in a friendly and professional way. The polling station must open at 7 a.m. Do not be late. You must inform the elections office as soon as possible if you encounter any problems that may prevent you from opening at 7 a.m. The law specifically provides for certain persons to be present in polling stations, in addition to election staff and voters. These are candidates, election agents, polling agents, police officers and community support officers on duty at the polling station, representatives of the Electoral Commission, accredited observers, persons under the age of 18 who accompany voters, and companions of disabled voters. The hours of the poll are from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. There may be a number of electors waiting for the polling station to open. Greet them and invite them inside as soon as it is 7 a.m. Do not issue ballot papers before 7 a.m. For the majority of voters who come to the polling station, the process for voting will be straightforward. The following procedure should be followed in those circumstances. Greet electors, ask them to confirm their name and address, and make sure that they are eligible to vote in the election. Mark the register of electors against, but not through, the elector's number by placing a straight line against the voter's entry on the register. Call out the number and name of the elector. Write the elector number, including the polling district reference letters, if not pre-printed, on the corresponding number list next to the number of the ballot paper to be issued. Ensure that the ballot paper includes a pre-printed official mark, for example, a barcode or a watermark. Fold the ballot paper and then hand it to the voter unfolded so that they can see all of the candidates on the paper. Make sure voters go to polling booths individually so that their right to a secret vote is protected. No other person is allowed to accompany a voter to a polling booth unless a voter who is disabled or unable to read has requested assistance to vote. See Appendix 1 for further information on voting with the assistance of a companion. The voter marks the ballot paper in the privacy of the polling booth. The voter should fold the ballot paper and place the ballot paper directly in the ballot box. Say goodbye and thank the voter as they leave the polling station. Do not issue tendered ballot papers. Sometimes voters do make mistakes, e.g. by making a mark against the wrong candidate. The presiding officer must take the spoilt ballot paper and write "cancelled" on it before placing it in the envelope provided. Do not place the spoilt ballot paper in the ballot box. Once a spoilt ballot paper has been placed in the ballot box, a replacement ballot paper cannot be issued. Issue the voter with a replacement ballot paper for the ballot paper that has been spoiled. Do not forget to write the elector number against the new ballot paper number on the corresponding number list and to write "cancelled" by the elector number for the cancelled ballot paper. Remember, voters are customers. Greet them with a smile and take into account any special needs they may have. Never be offhand, prejudiced or patronising. Do not become angry or agitated even when under pressure. Listen carefully if you are asked a question. If you are unable to answer a voter's questions or concerns, refer them to the returning officer. When giving general assistance, polling station staff must be careful not to lead voters to cast their votes for a specific candidate or offer an opinion about any candidate. Polling stations must close at 10 p.m, but any eligible electors who at 10 p.m. are in their polling station or in a queue at their polling station for the purposes of voting, whether that queue is inside or continues outside the polling station, must be allowed to vote. If a person is in the polling station or in a queue outside the polling station by 10 p.m. for the purposes of returning a postal vote, they may do so after 10 p.m. Check the polling place not just immediately before the close of poll, but regularly in the lead up to close of poll, and take steps to ensure that as far as possible all waiting electors will be able to be issued with ballot papers by 10 p.m. If that is not possible, take steps to ensure that they will all be inside the polling station or in a queue outside the polling station for the purposes of voting by that time. Inform the elections office immediately in the event of a queue existing or building up in the lead up to the close of poll. Please clear down the polling station and complete all assigned paperwork as quickly as possible in order for the presiding officer to get to the count venue where staff are awaiting their arrival. If there is more than one polling station in the building, check that anyone waiting to vote is at the correct polling station for their address. Make sure nobody joins the queue after 10 p.m. If there is a queue at 10 p.m. and if the polling station can accommodate all the electors in the queue, ask electors to move inside the polling station and close the doors behind the last electors in the queue. If the polling station is too small to accommodate all the electors in the queue, a member of the polling station team should mark the end of the queue, for example by positioning themselves behind the last elector in the queue. The presiding officer must complete all official forms. Take care when filling in the paperwork. It is far more important to be accurate than fast. It is quite possible that some of the official forms have not been needed during the day. No tendered ballot papers may have been issued and no ballot papers may have been spoiled. If this is the case, still complete the forms, entering a nil return where necessary. Checklist of official forms to be completed by the presiding officer. The ballot paper account, the list of voters with disabilities assisted by companions, the list of votes marked by the presiding officer, the statement of the number of voters whose votes were marked by the presiding officer, the statement of the number of postal votes delivered to the polling station, and the list of tendered votes. The ballot paper account is the most important of all the paperwork and should be filled in first and completed with care. In many instances, the first section of the ballot paper account will have been completed in advance by the returning officer. It is the presiding officer's duty to complete the remainder of the form. The ballot paper account reconciles the number of ballot papers dealt with by the presiding officer. Remember to count the number of ballot papers issued according to the corresponding number list and include this on the ballot paper account. The form relies on the serial numbering of the ballot paper, and this is why it is so important to issue ballot papers in numerical order as pre-printed on the corresponding number list. The ballot paper account and the packet containing the postal votes must be delivered with the ballot box and other documentation to the verification and count centre as directed by the returning officer. Do not lose them or place them by mistake in another envelope or with other election materials, as this may cause problems and delays at the count. Thank you for watching.